Okay, we're on Shabbat, Perek Kaf Dalid Mishnah Aleph. First Mishnah in the 24th and final chapter of Masechet Shabbat. It's a long Masechta. Says the Mishnah, we're going to talk about Mishi Hichshich Bederech. It's Friday night, and Hichshich is getting dark. Okay, and you're on the way, and you're carrying your wallet. You're carrying your money bag. So what do you do with your stuff? You're carrying all your stuff. It's an Isur D'Oraita to carry something 4 amot in Rishut HaRabim. You're in Rishut HaRabim outside the city. So what do? What are your options? So the first option, says the Mishnah, is noten kiso lenachri. You give your kiso, you give your money to a non-Jew. Okay? So that's option number 1. V'afagav, said the Bartunura. V'afagav dishalucho shel Yisrael hu. Lisat kiso b'Shabbat. Even though he's the representative, he becomes a shliach. So you're asking a non-Jew to do something for you for Shabbat. Kimlu the Rabbanan. Chazal established, ein adam ma'amid atzmo al mimono. V'ilo sharit le. Basically, the person's not going to give up his money. It's his livelihood. It's parnasa. He worked the whole week for it. And he's now freaking out. So if you don't permit him to do something of a less severe nature, he's going to carry something arba amot and b'shuta rabim. And I think it's very interesting. Chazal could have said, sorry, drop the money, it's Shabbat, what are you going to do? But they didn't say that. They found a solution for this person who's stuck with his money. There was no banks, there was no whatever. You're not talking about losing your wallet and your credit cards. This is whatever you had on you, from the road or whatever, that's your livelihood. And how are you going to survive if you have to get home or wherever you are? So therefore, Chazal found a solution. They're looking for solutions and creative solutions. And if you didn't permit this, if you didn't permit one way, ilo sharit le, then you're going to carry Rishut HaRabim, you're going to do something in a worse way. So Chazal found a creative way in order to allow people to be able to survive and to be able to function in the halachic manner. It's really interesting to me, when I think about it this way, I wonder why Chazal didn't think this way also in the case of the fire, of saving the stuff in your house. And they felt that if a person was Adam Bahul al Mamono, and therefore they limited what you could save. But if they didn't limit what you could save, they felt that you would then put out the fire. But on the other hand, it's an interesting question why they felt that if they limit what you say, if they don't limit what you say, if a person wouldn't freak out and say, oh my God, I'm going to lose half of my stuff. I'm not entirely sure, but obviously they took these things into account. And in this case, they felt this was true definitely about a person's money. Okay, so you first option, no take kiso l'nachri, you give it to a non-Jew. V'im eini mo nachri, if you're alone or there's another Jew with him, there's no other non-Jew, minicho ala chamor. Place it on the chamor, you place it on the donkey. Now this sounds very simple. Simple, place it on your donkey. It's not simple at all, because there's an isur called mechamer. Mechamer from the word chamor means leading your animal. What is mechamer? Let's look at the Rambam, Hilchot Shabbat Perek Kaf. Says the Rambam, Asur lahotzi masal behema b'Shabbat. You cannot have your animal carry something for you on Shabbat. It's an isur d'oraita. Shneimar, as it says, L'man yanuach shorcha v'chamarecha. There's an explicit command, mitzvat asay, that not only you rest on Shabbat, your shor and your chamor, your ox and your donkey also have to rest. Echad shor, echad chamor, ve'echad kol be'ima. Your dog can't carry stuff for you, your horse. V'im hotzi ala behema. And if you take something out of the behema, af apishu mutzuva al shvitata, even though you are commanded on its resting, eina lokeh. Lefi she'isuro ba'michlal asay. It's an asay. The asay is your animal must rest. Okay? And it's also, the Rambam says, v'halo lav mifurash b'Torah. It's an explicit lav. Shne'emar, as it says, lo ta'aseh kol melacha ata ubincha ubitecha. No melacha, you, your son, your daughter, abdecha ve'amatcha ubehemtecha, and your animal as well. Shelo lachrosh ba ki yotzeh b'chavisha. You're not, so therefore, your animal, a person is enjoying from his animal doing work. So therefore, it's interesting. Placing something on a chamor, on the animal, is not a simple thing. So the first option is to give to a non-Jew. That's the Rabbanan. The second option is to place something on the chamor. That's a not a simple thing. So I'm just going to tell you. The Gemara says, okay, chamor ata mitzuva shvitato. The Gemara says if you have a non-Jew, first give it to the non-Jew. The second worst option, or the first worst, least worst option, is give it to the non-Jew. The second option is to the chamor because it's a bitul aseh. But he also says the father. Therefore, you have to do it in a very convoluted way. Shemeniach, this is all based on the Gemara. I'll just tell you briefly. When When you place it on the chamor, you have to place it when it's already walking. Kolomar, after it is already moved. Remember this term akira? This takes you way back to the very beginning of Masechet Shabbat. There's something called akira and hanacha. And akira, remember we said, is lifting something up, starting the moving. Okay? So if you push it when the animal is already moving, that's the lo avda akira. The animal that's not called an akira. When the behema wants to stop, note lo, before it stops, you take it. Okay, etc., etc. Kihechi delo ta'avida behema akira v'hanacha, so that the behema, the animal, doesn't do akira v'hanacha, because if you let it do the akira v'hanacha, if you let it do the starting and the stopping, hu mechamer acharecha umanhiga, and then you're doing what's called mechamer. Mechamer is the act of having your animal carrying something for you, and that's the asur. Okay, so therefore the Bartenura says, based on the Gemara, you can't just place it on the chamor. You have to know how to put it on the donkey. Start, put it down. The animal's walking, put it down. Then the animal's going to stop, pick it up. So that you're not explicitly violating the Isur of Mechamer. It's very tricky to do it that way, but the Rabbanan wanted to give you the option of solving the problem, but solving the problem in a way that least violates the Isur. Once you got to the outer part, the Kahati says, Chatzer Chitzonah means the outer part of the city, meaning the first place where there's Shemirah, where it's going to be watched. Then you could, and obviously, where there's an Eruv, you can carry. You take the Kelim Nitalim B'Shabbat, you take the stuff that's not Muksa. V'sheinam Nitalim B'Shabbat, the Kelim that are not Muksa, Matirat Chavalim, you undo the ropes, V'asakim Noflim Ele, you don't leave it on your donkey. Here's my donkey. Okay, so you see it's tied up. The donkey is tied on both sides. The bags are on both sides. So you untie the donkey, you untie the ropes, and the bags, and the bags fall on the... We'll stop here. We'll dedicate the learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. If you have any comments or questions, email me. Have a great day.